Meeting to order at 9 o'clock, and I believe that myself and Board President Silsby will be reading the Pledge of Allegiance with a moment of silence for those who have fallen and those who continue to serve in defense of our freedom and protect our way of life.
I've done this before.
No.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'll turn it over to you. You brought the agenda to us, and I'll just turn it over and see what we have.
Okay, I think the first thing that we might want to do is introduce ourselves and get to know each other. We can start with Rich, if you don't mind, Rich.
My name is Richard Ishman. I'm a board member at Clifton Pine Social School. This is my 5th year. I've lived in Star Lake all my life.
Brian Nolan, I'm a board member for 6 years.
Robert Tebow, board member for 2 years.
Denise Folsom, board member for, this is my 3rd year. Roxy Silsby, board member for 3 years.
Michelle Durham, board member for 2 years. This is my 1st year as that.
Ann Hanley, district clerk, 12 years.
Denise Kowski, superintendent, Clifton Pine Central.
Sue Kelly, superintendent, Edwards Knox Central.
Kelly Moore, district clerk. Carol South, shared business manager.
Tom O'Brien, board member.
Chris Averill, board member. This is my 1st year as a board member in the
Teresa Hogel, and I'm the board president, and I've been on the board for 7 years.
Mandy Fuller, I'm the vice president. It's my 1st year as vice president, and I've done 8 or 9 years in this track.
Randy Van Brockman, 1st year as board member.
This is my 3rd year as board member.
Joe Thomas, 1st year as board member. Work for these guys.
Glenn Collar, 3rd year board member.
I will just speak for a moment to everyone just to explain why we're here, where this came about. We've been looking, as everyone right now is increasing our efficiency within the district, with staffing, with our services, with our programs, and also trying to maximize our opportunities for our students, making sure that we can maintain whatever opportunities possible for them in all areas, in instructional, extracurricular, athletics, whatever. And as we've been talking, this study I know everyone has a copy of as well. We looked at some of these things and thought we would come to one of our neighbors to open up some conversation as to, are there things that are going on within your district that you may also want to look at insofar as increasing your cost efficiencies or increasing opportunities for students. So that's why we're here. We kind of set up the agenda in a way that we have a main heading of an area to have some discussion. There may or may not be interest for some of these things, and that's fine. But we thought we'd just open the doors to conversation to see, is there any feasibility as for any sharing opportunities? If not, okay, we'll move on. If there is, what aspects of that category? Is there an interest in or a need for looking at something, and then we'll develop some plans after that and set up some timelines. Other questions? Or?
I have a question. I'm interested, are you in a situation right now where you need to take action because of a financial situation or a situation within your district? Or just more strategic in nature than tactical? Okay, so right now there's no, you're not in jeopardy of losing programs for whatever reason. So this is more of a long-term strategic kind of vision. Okay, so that kind of sets it.
Yes.
Can I just add to this will not be a period of time devoted to public comment at this meeting in order to maximize the opportunity for each board member to express ideas and thoughts, as well as our time available. If any member of the public has comment on the topic, they encourage to send a written statement to the attention of each Board of Education so that their thoughts can be considered.
to start?
Okay, what we have is an agenda of 7 items. Denise and I kind of spoke about it, and said maybe what we really want to do is start at the top, obviously, and vote about 10 or 12 minutes to a topic, and then move to the next, so we're sure to get through them all. And then if there's particular ones that we say, gee, this is something we all might want to consider, then we will do that. Does that seem to work for everyone? Okay, so the first one is transportation. Actually, Tom Burns just walked in. So after he takes his coat off, Tom is the district superintendent of OCs, and we asked him to come today to join us.
Good morning, thank you. I had a teacher who worked with me in Perishville that said all roads lead to Russell, and I think that was true this morning. I got to be on the drink plow and now the speaker dresses. Thank you.
Tom, do you want to talk a little bit, and I'm sorry to put you right on the spot on the go, about where even the sharing ideas came off of the study and what St. Lawrence County is looking at as a whole?
Sure. I think we started this conversation about 3 years ago, the superintendents, and it was really just prior to the economic outlook getting as bad as it is now. But what we were noticing even then is that our enrollments have drastically declined around the county. This BOCES region had over 26,000 students in 1976, 1977. We're now down to just over 16,000 students, BOCES-wide, 16,000 just over. So what we were seeing as superintendents all over the county were diminished class sizes, especially at the high school. And it's becoming increasingly difficult to offer a full range of electives and different course offerings for, again, in particular, high school students. So we recognize that, and with the board's support all across the county, we commissioned the Rural Schools Association to do this study because we needed our kids to be competitive with kids from other parts of the state, and we were very concerned about that as we continue to our enrollments decrease and have to cut staff and cut programs and course offerings for kids, that was going to be a problem. Of course, the economic crisis and the state budget has really just made that a much more urgent problem. I would say it's accelerated that issue, and so the study took a year, and it's 300 plus pages, and it's given us a lot of directions that I think to look in. But really the focal points are, can we afford to keep doing business the way we're doing it? And can we continue to provide adequate educational opportunities for kids? So I think that's the lens through which we've looked at all of these sharing discussions through those two ideas.
Okay. We'll start with transportation. It's got 8 after, so I'll just let us know when we're at 10 minutes.
I'm not exactly sure how we want to jump into this. We currently have a transportation director. We have a facility person is here.
So is ours. So if we want to have them be able to come down, do I do transportation or speak, or if you have anything? Okay.
I can answer any questions, but I'm
Okay.
not prepared.
Yeah, okay. I didn't ask my people to prepare anything. They're just coming to observe, but answer questions or whatever. Mr. Bullard's been on staff for a number of years. He's been with the district. He's not going anywhere in the near future, insofar as we know anyway. One of the things too, and I'll back up just a little bit, in looking at the BOCES study, and when we had the people come in and speak to the study from Rural Schools Association, one of the things that they talked to us about was looking at the optimal times for kind of restructuring. And some of those optimal times are if you have a retirement, if you have a crisis situation where you're in danger of losing something and you need to make a change, or if you're what you have currently working is not working for whatever reasons. So if there are areas of concern, that would be something that we would look at insofar as feasibility. So I don't know if anyone from my board wants to you know, ask questions about transportation at EK, or I'm not sure exactly how you all wanted to open up conversation.
Can you let us know how many runs do you have on every day? What's your general run for school and then extra runs?
We have 7 regular runs in district, out of district every day. We run at district for the bus at 4:15, 3 days a week, and a bus at 5 o'clock, 5 days a week. Actually, it's 2 buses, 4:15, 2 buses at 5 o'clock.
How big an area do you have?
305 square miles.
Are you running any special programs, long distance runs, things like that?
We have one special ed handicap run, or you want to label it, to Governor Harrisville daily. And that's all set up through CSC.
So your area goes up against Tupper Lake?
Colton.
Colton?
We have Frank
Edwards, and
Barney,
Harrisville.
I'm sorry, we have Frank Barney here, he is our transportation person, he's been here for about a year. Frank, can you just give similar information, how many runs we have and?
We have 11 regular AM/PM runs. We have one special education run that goes to Ogdensburg, Gilberton, Canton daily. We have an afternoon run that goes to Canton every afternoon. And starting Tuesday, we're going to also have a special ed run going to Potsdam. And we do go to Rome Mondays and Fridays, the School for the Deaf. And we do have the after-school program 3 days a week.
Is that one run, 3 days a week?
No, I'm sorry, it's 3 runs, and it's 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's 3 bus runs that cover the district.
Square mileage, are we 254?
Pretty close to that, yes. Oh, I'm sorry, and also, Sue, in the afternoon, we have the pre-K runs and our BOCES runs to Southwest Tech.
As well, that's one
Yeah,
we do a noon pre-K now. We just added that back in. We were doing an all-day program. A lot of parents weren't real impressed with that. So we went back to a half-day program.
Does Clifton Fine have a mechanic, or are you a mechanic or just a director?
I do mechanic work as well, but we have a dedicated mechanic driver. He drives the bus and works on the buses every day.
Does our mechanic drive bus as well?
No.
Only in situations when need be, he's not a regular driver.
So would it be worthwhile to kind of compare the structure of the two as far as reporting and the types of the number of bus drivers you have and the support people, mechanics, what your mechanic command is kind of thing, so your levels are very similar to ours, do you think?
How many drivers do you have?
I've got right now one retiring at the end of this month. So I'll have 8, including the mechanic, and then 1 sub, well, actually 2 subs. Plus myself, I drive as well.
Do you have a regular run or just?
No, I just fill in as needed.
Frank, do you want to?
We actually have 13 regular drivers. We have basically 3 subs, but 2 only part-time of the year because 1 goes south for the winter. Mechanics capable of driving in an emergency situation, and so am I.
Darren, we go to BOCES every day, do we have any other, I'm sorry, you might have already said that, any other special ed runs that we?
Just like Governor Harrisville. It's 1 bus goes to Governor Harrisville.
Just to mention now, I mean, I don't know that everybody knows this, we share with students that live in Clifton Fine that come here to a special ed program through homeless students. So our bus meets your bus every day at Baker's, I believe, and we drop, you give us the 2 kids, we bring them back here, then at BOCES time again, we drop them off and take them home. So we are sharing 2 students at the elementary level.
Could you tell me what time your first student gets on their bus?
5 minutes to 7 maybe?
5 to 7?
Yeah.
Mr. Barney, what would our first student getting on the bus be?
About 6:15 to 6:20.
Okay.
They started.
13 buses.
What time is yours?
8 o'clock.
Is your BOCES runs, their buses full?
No, no, we actually use a small bus.
Right off the bat, you have to go right, you take it to Southwest Tech?
Yeah, yeah. You know, most of you can probably remember, when I went to BOCES, we actually shared with Edwards at that time. And then when they built this school, they discontinued that because of just logistics of trying to meet up somewhere.
Are our BOCES runs full, our buses?
The buses are not full, no. We run a full-size school bus to BOCES because we have, depending on which group it is, it can vary from 18 to 28 students, you know, depending on who's enrolled in the program.
You're not ready to share a run?
The problem that we've run into, like with the two students that are doing homeless right now, is the timing. Because your school gets out so much earlier, and we have to travel so much farther, that we have to leave BOCES so much earlier to get back for our dismissal. It's, you know, it's just a logistic part. It's not who on buses, it's just the timing down to make something like that work.
Sounds like one of the things you need to have to consider is if we're going to share anything, you might have to kind of coordinate.
I just want to point out for those two students, they get picked up at 6, what time?
Depending on where they are. The one student probably gets picked up at a little after 7 and rides the whole route back to our school and then gets on the BOCES bus. The other student is picked up in time on the way.
And they don't get here to school till 10 to 9. And then they leave here at 1:30 and they get back home at?
They get back to our school at 3 o'clock and then on 2 different buses.
So I want to point that out.
They leave here at 1:30 and get back at 3?
Yeah, it's go to BOCES to get our bus there and then come back to start our way. It's one of those logistic things, we had no other way to meet up. You know, Frank came up with the idea in the morning that, you know, we meet at Baker's, that worked out fine, to save some time, but. I think that's gonna be your biggest hurdle in trying to do anything here is the distance between the schools.
That is 10 minutes. If we want to go to the next topic, we will have time to go back so people's brains can think a little bit about, ask other feasibility questions or BOCES questions. Cafeteria is the next. And I know that we do have Kathy Whitmarsh here. She's been with us for over 7 years as our cafeteria manager.
Mrs. Hamling is not here today, so we can try to just answer whatever questions there may be. If we want to do the same type of a situation, and if you'd like to share with us what your setup looks like.
We have 2 cafeterias. There are about 625 students in the school. We feed from like 11 to 1, basically. And there's about 65% of our students that are free reduced. We have the POS systems in both cafeterias that are Neutra kids, so they do communicate with my my computer, and I do all of the stuff like putting in reimbursement, payroll, all of the logistics of the cafeteria as far as paperwork goes.
Happy number of employees?
We have 8 employees. 5 of those are 3-hour, and we have, right now, 1 has just retired and 1 is off, so basically we have, our subs are working. So as 3-hour,
Keeping us
or we're short.
Do you serve breakfast?
Yes, we serve breakfast from usually around 10 to 8 till 8 o'clock. We run 2 lines downstairs, and we do one of them with a roster, and it's for K through, or pre-K if they want to come, to 6th grade. And then I put those roster kids into the cash register. And then we have 7 through 12 upstairs. And I do run the cash register line in the morning.
She also serves snack out of the cafeteria 3 days a week that we have our after school.
Yeah.
Kathy's in charge of that.
And I did put in through the government, doing it through reimbursement, because we had over 50%, so.
We also do summer feed. Yes. We had 3 sites last year
Yeah.
throughout the area. The fire department,
Yeah, both fire
Both
halls,
Edwards and Russell.
we did,
And then here at school.
yes. So we transported the food there and did it on ticker and then ran it in through the cash register system when we came back. In summer feeding though, you have to be able to have each of those counts separate. So we really have to have the different books for each place. Or a cash register system, we did the ticker.
We do offer a shared food service management program through the BOCES. It really is just a management. It doesn't involve the labor in the cafeterias. It would assist with all the paperwork, the supervision, the nutritional guidelines, the menu planning, et cetera. So currently we have Norwood, Norfolk, Niagara, Waddington, Hewlton, Colton, Pierpont, and Parishville, Hopkinton just joined that service. I'm assuming both school districts, because this is a constant problem throughout the county, that it's difficult to keep cafeteria programs in the black. It's an ongoing issue.
The schools that you just mentioned had success with this shared program?
Colton, Pierpont just jumped in September. Like I said, Parishville's just coming on, actually within a few days. Madrid, Waddington, and Hewlton have done fairly well with it. They share the same manager, Steve Adams, and that seems to have worked well. Norwood, Norfolk originally was in with Messina. Messina decided they were a big enough operation, they really couldn't continue to do it on their own, so they pulled out. And Artie Frigo is our overall supervisor for the entire service, and I think he's jetting back and forth between Colton and Parishville right now.
So basically, you have one manager covering 2 schools, or will it be spread thinner than that as more schools join?
Yeah, we would have to look at, I think as more schools come on, ideally, as you said, we could have one manager per 2 districts. That's probably good. Right now, Artie is essentially handling 3, plus overseeing the service, and Steve is between Madrid, Waddington, and Hewlton. I know we run into that with the cooperative business office as well. People like Carol are hard to find, and so sometimes we do make it work. People handling 3 schools instead of 2. We have to spread people around as best we can.
Denise, can you give us a breakdown of yours?
Yeah, we have one cafeteria. We're about 340 kids right now. And we have 5 staff, 2 of which are part-time at 3 hours. We do a breakfast. We also have NutriKids. We do not do a summer feeding program. They had in the past, but it's discontinued. The breakfast program, we actually have the elementary. The breakfast goes to them in the elementary building. And our cafeteria manager does, it sounds very similar to the job responsibilities that you described that you do as well. I think that is, we do snacks as well for our after-school activities. We have, let's see, I think we're running right about 52% free and reduced lunch currently. And our lunch times are similar between 11 to 1, it's wrapped up, and we start around 11-ish.
Are there any other questions?
Move on to buildings and grounds. Okay, buildings and grounds. We do have John Daniels here, and Mr. Redmond is here as well. So Mr. Redmond, if you want to just tell us a little bit about your school, the square footage.
The school is 114,000 square feet. We have 5 full-time employees plus myself, so that's 6, and then 1 part-time. 2 maintenance people, 2 custodians, 1 cleaner sweeper that's full-time, and a part-time that comes in 3 days a week for 6 hours a day. Take care of all the building, all the grounds, plowing, mowing. We have 33 acres that we mow. 2 boilers we take care of. The only contracts I have is annual maintenance contracts on the boilers for cleaning. I took that out of the people's hands because it was too dangerous. The rest of it, we do our weekly maintenance of ourselves and PMs.
John?
We have about 170,000 square feet. We have 5 full-time custodians, 2 part-time. Cleaners, we have 1 full-time and 3 part-time. We staff 24/7 except on the weekends. We're from 8 o'clock at night until probably 8:30, 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. There's no one here. Other than that, we're full staff. Again, we do our own plowing, we do our own mowing. We got about 22 to 24 acres that we mow. Again, we take care of, we've got, the wood chip plant there. We take care of all of our own boiler maintenance. We don't have a cleaning contract. I still do clean the boilers. I'm supposedly 50% work, 50% administration, but it varies, depends on what's broke. We do, like I say, try to do all of our own maintenance and, what else? About it, I guess.
Does Starlink have the, a biomass type boiler system that we do, or just the?
No, you were lucky. Yours was 100% funded by 80 or 90-some%. We can't get that nowadays, so we have to approve it out. I've had NICA and NYSERDA to do energy studies, and the efficiency of the building at this point in time with our 2 projects between 2000 and the one we just went through in the last 4 years was so good that they couldn't come up with a project for it. It wasn't feasible for them. But we tried to do a small biomass boiler with pellets instead of large. I looked at the large biomass boiler. It was a 24-year payback, so there's no way we were going to move forward with that. The other one was like 8-year. It was a $400,000 cost, which isn't out of the realm. Our boilers are only 25 years old now, but we just redid them in 2000, so SED won't touch them until you're at least 15 years. So that's why I've been looking over the last few years to see what we can do. Our energy costs have gone down about 35% the last 5 years. Between electricity. Huh?
What do you contribute that to?
It's the project. We put a new roof on the whole building. Instead of a rubber roof, I want a build-up roof, which gave us a great amount of savings because we were just had an icicle on the roof. We changed over the, we have an electric wing. That was a 400 kW transformer, went to heat, which didn't put any extra really into the system. So that's the major savings that we had in electricity. Our electricity bill's now $80,000 a year or something like that. And and we're only burning 35,000 gallons of fuel oil. So it's kind of hard to justify biomass. That's the way we're going right now.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good number.
And the windows were good. So what's that? I'm sorry?
Your fuel oil usage sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it used to be 65,000 at one time. So it's gone way down. That was about 10 years ago.
Contribute most of that to the roof project?
Roof project, the windows, we've ended up putting insulation in various areas. Cut down on the heat. I mean, it used to be up to around 72 now. We usually give the teachers anywhere between 68 and 72 so they can keep their room. Lighting, that was a big one. Everything's T8s now, T5s. Daylighting, occupancy sensors, I mean, especially the gym, because that was a big waste of money. So we got all of that in place now.
The state is talking about reducing all of the expense-driven aids. We won't know what they're going to do until next month, but they've promised about $805 million in new aid this year, approximately $265 million of which is expense-driven aids, building aid, transportation aid. They're trying, with times being as difficult as they are, they're trying to put as many dollars into foundation aid as they can, so we don't know what that's gonna look like.
Any other questions about buildings?
Is it feasible, down the road, I'm not talking about making sudden changes, is it feasible to have one person, I don't know what your day consists of, and I don't know what Mr. Daniels' day consists of, is it possible or feasible to have one person supervise 2 buildings, like 2 schools?
Sure it is. My past, I've been there 4 years, was in the private sector. I manage multiple manufacturing plants, so I know it's feasible in multiple buildings.
Do you have to change your structure as far as having somebody in charge?
Not our structure, because our structure's already set up. I got 2 shifts, so the shift that I'm not there, my maintenance guys act as the supervision for the people that are there.
John, is that something that, I don't know where John went to,
Yep.
John, is that something that, how do you feel about that?
It could be done. Again, it depends on the day, you know, sometimes there's a day when,
Everybody
and I'm
goes.
sure that Tim is very busy, that, you know, it'd be hard to get away, but other days, yeah, you could do that.
Okay, thank you.
John, you said you spend about 50% of your time in admin and 50% doing repairs.
Right.
Well, yeah, my days, I mean, I do extra every day. I mean, there are days where I'm 100% tied up doing maintenance or whatever else I need to do, paperwork probably.
How much of a day goes to paperwork?
My day? Average 2-3 hours a day.
John, is that about right?
Yeah, probably. Like I say, it varies on the time of year when, you know, stuff comes due. You might be busy for a week with paperwork, you know, and then, you know, other times then slack times, you know, that's when you get your maintenance done.
Depends if the DC's it depends if the DC's happy. The state does now allow districts to share a buildings and grounds person through BOCES. There's a coaster for that. I have 2 districts that I don't want to mention their name because their boards haven't approved it yet. They should within days. So I have 2 districts that are going to tentatively enter into that arrangement. And currently, Madrid, Waddington, and Lisbon are sharing, but they are not sharing through BOCES. They're just sharing that individual between the 2.
And by doing that, they still receive their state aid on that part of the position. Correct. It's aidable.
Yes. Obviously, when you ask a person to take on double the square footage and responsibilities, et cetera, they tend to ask for more money. So that will be a conversation we'll have to have with those 2 districts, and it will be basically a 3-way negotiation. And then, you know, that person becomes our employee, which means we own their legacy costs. We take on their health insurance when they retire, et cetera. And I just had that conversation with the superintendent this week that, you know, that ultimately goes into our administrative budget. So that's the one downside to, you know, us sharing. I mean, it's not a downside for you, for the district.
It is technically because we pay administrative costs.
Correct.
So we do pick, I'm just saying, we do
That's
pick
right.
some of that up ultimately,
Yep.
and other districts are sharing.
You get 8.
I know, but I did want to point that out.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. So they retire with us.
So there's 2 schools that have their own, basically contracted, and there's two schools coming online that use BOCES for a coordinator.
Correct.
Is it possible for, just for instance, we have 2 people that hold this position now. If we decide to go through BOCES, could these people possibly swing to a BOCES employee and do this position?
I'm not sure I'm understanding your question.
Would a school employee be able to become a BOCES employee?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
To do
yep,
this,
absolutely.
to cover 2 schools.
Yep.
But if you have 2 people, BOCES would be hiring 1 person if you're
Right.
looking at merging.
Yeah.
So I believe it goes by seniority after that, depending on their title and their civil service, you know, requirements.
And again, it's just the supervision, it's not the labor.
That is 10 minutes. To the next topic, which is athletics. We have soccer in the fall for girls and boys. We have a modified level as well. In the winter, we have swimming for a girl team, female team. We have volleyball, female team, varsity level, and modified. We then go into winter with basketball for varsity JV and modified, male and female. And then in the spring, we go to baseball for the males of 2 teams, and then we have softball, each level, and we have golf, which we have allowed mergers from certain different districts because we can't ban full team ourselves. Did I miss any?
We also have soccer in the fall for girls and boys, modified varsity. We have no swimming, no volleyball, excuse me. Basketball, we have modified JV varsity for boys. We have a modified and varsity for girls. We have wrestling, also in the winter. And then moving on, we have baseball modified and varsity, softball modified and varsity. We also have golf, and we also have track for boys and girls. And we do also accept students for that from other districts.
You have an athletic director as well? Is this person also a full-time teacher?
No, he's retired teaching.
You want to clarify, director, coordinator?
Sorry, yes, he's a coordinator. It's not an administrative position. Thank you, Brian.
When you talk athletic, in general, would you intend to be all or none, or would it be on a sport by sport basis, or?
My opinion is whatever we can possibly do. I don't think it has to be an all or nothing type of a conversation.
If I could say, I coach out of school, varsity, JV last year. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough kids. I also did the elementary and I helped with the modified program for girls basketball. I've known, your school teams, I guess I'm picking on, when I'm talking about basketball, because that's, you have 8 kids on your varsity team. We have 8. Most schools have 12, 13. I don't know if it's the same here.
Excuse me, we have 15 on our varsity.
On your varsity team?
Yes, male.
Did they move up?
Male.
Male.
No, I'm talking
Oh, I'm
female.
sorry, female. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
I mean, it just seems to be less and less kids. I don't know if it's what's going on in the schools or not, but I would say anywhere we can get, I'm hearing right now in our school that we might not be able to field a varsity girls softball team. I'm hearing that. I don't know if EK is the same. I know your baseball team last year, I think there was 11 kids on it, I believe. It takes 9 to play, and that's 2 kids get hurt, or academic problems or something. You don't have a team. I mean, to me, I'd like to look at everything. If you're, the school is willing to.
In the interest of keeping the kids participating in sports, if there was a situation where the basketball team, we had a team that we want to do some type of merger, would there be an opportunity, we think, to create programs for the kids that want to play basketball that didn't make a team, put 25 kids on a team? It's like an intramural program or something like that. I'd hate to see a kid that wants to play a sport.
Right. We offer 2 things that EK does not.
Okay.
You offer 2 things, swimming and volleyball, that we do not. So I think even the kid, the child that hasn't done anything, volleyball might be their thing, or wrestling might be their thing, So nobody sits out or left.
From an all or none perspective, does anybody have a feeling if a student was a teammate during the soccer and then during basketball they're rivals, is that going to create a situation that we want to avoid? Or
I would say for right now, I'm just going with my girls' team. These kids are friends with kids here all over the place. It's unbelievable. It's not the way we used to be. It's not there anymore. The kids are, and I hope that the parents and the community sees that, let the kids, I mean, they are friends with everybody. We're good.
It's a different world with texting.
Yes, ma'am.
Facebook, I mean, those kids, like I said, they're all over each other's sites, they're over the whole county. All the athletes from team to team share. You know, they also are all going to camps, you know, where they are getting together, playing on teams together throughout the summer.
Mhm.
You know, the better players get put on elite teams and travel all over, so it's very different.
Joe and I share a board seat with their former rival that way. So, I think that's possible.
I think there is a real ebb and flow of participation now, and where our varsity girls are low this year in basketball. I went to modified games the other night, and we're at a point where we have 2 full teams of boys, and the girls are maxed at 21, I think. So I mean, you know, it goes like that. And so, I mean, within 4 years, we may have basketball people all over the place. So I think it is going to be difficult to judge, you know, where you can accommodate, and some years where you really, you know, if these girls have played together since 5th and 6th grade, you certainly don't want to start cutting them, and because then you may see that, you know, not happy with the situation we're in. I think that's something that we'd have to look at from a year-to-year basis. And but like you said, when you're looking at not being able to field a team, it would be great to put them together and have a strong group. And but I think we would have to be conscious that it will change. It will fluctuate, I think.
I think the more there's more stuff offered, you know, more there is, the kids will go. I mean, it's just like us. We're strong with the elementary, 30 kids.
Right.
It's a JV. Or modified. There's 15, and you know, if it's a JV, you got 10 or 9. Then all of a sudden, varsity, you have the ones that love the sport, and everyone's doing it. The other people have decided to go off there. So,
Ms. Kelly, from a real strategic nature, I read a report that the enrollment expectations for some of the districts are kind of on a decline. Edwards Knox is one of them, I think. The decline is another. So, inevitably, something's going to have to probably give.
Sure.
And it would probably be more of an evolutionary thing than you know, you start with a sport or two. But does it create an issue with golf, for example? We have students from other districts, and if Starlight or Clifton Fine and Edwards Knox join, and they have one golf team, for example, does that preclude students that are already on the team from other districts that weren't? How does that?
The merger's voted on each year, whether or not we choose to allow another district to come to us. One of the things we look at on the calendar, you might be able to help me more with the legality of merging teams, because it's supposed to be an advantage to be able to get a team up and running for a certain amount of time. It's not supposed to be able forever.
Okay.
And that's where.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the state initially allowed athletic mergers so that you could get a program off the ground. It was never meant to be a permanent arrangement, but I guess I would say that the state is not really keeping track of that. There's a timeline that we have established through the section, so for planning purposes, and I forget what that is, about a year in advance for the flight. You know, both boards have to approve. We've both done that merger, and I think it was through section 10. So it's worked fairly well. I mean, I think the athletic directors around the county have done this in many instances, you know, in the best interest of kids. They've made these arrangements work.
And I know that there's 2 other districts, Colton and Parrishville, also currently having the same conversation because they can't field their teams. And instead of losing sports, they're trying to figure out how to do similar type things. Are they? That'd be interesting.
And this doesn't lead us down the road at some point if we decide that it's, you know, we can't look at the ball and say that if there was ever a merger, it would be Clifton Fine and it's not. We could back out, or we could
year to year.
Yeah.
Okay, we are at our 10 minutes.
Did you have
Or
something?
so.
I was wondering, could you tell me, like, 10 years ago, how many students you had in your school? 10 years ago, we were around, what, 400, correct?
More than that, 10 years ago.
430, 440s.
Yeah, it was sixes or sevens. It
I
was,
mean, you had a rough,
Katie said the highest she remembers is 865.
865.
Kathy's nodding her head, so she doesn't know.
I know at one time it was 860.
We used to have, our classes used to average about 60 to 70, and now we're averaging 43 per grade level, average.
Kelly, you said 800 10 years ago, roughly?
850.
850, and what is it now?
About 620.
Still from 5, 10 years ago?
I guess in the 600s,
What are you now?
300.
Is this pretty much the trend as you see it across the state?
It is, unfortunately, until we get more jobs, industry come in. You know, if the paper mill truly opens and gets up and running, it'll probably make a major boom for their town. But that's obviously when you saw a major flux out, I should say.
Other than employment of people coming into the area, the baby boom generation, as you're here to speak about, is that what we're looking at? Is the population dropping off all over the state?
I can only speak for St. Lawrence County.
Is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very aging population in St. Lawrence County. You're losing, I say you, all of the districts are losing about up to 10.5% of your enrollment a year. Actually, Clifton Klein has been one of the highest losses. I was just saying to Ann, I think you were around 900 students in 1976. So it's drastic. And the rural schools folks said that, you know, things are stabilizing. And as somebody pointed out, there's a few of you that are up a little bit, a few of you that are down a little bit. But I question their conclusion that we have stabilized. And the reason I question that is we have a significant number of Mennonite and Amish children and homeschool families around the county. And those children will not enter public schools. So if you look at county birth rates and you say, well, we're stabilizing, that's not factoring all those children out. So I don't want to paint a gloomy picture, but just to be cautious, I would say it may not be that positive an outlook.
Do we want to move on or put more time into this? Okay, move on. Okay, the next area is extracurricular. Michelle is our 7-12 principal.
And the other position, and really the extracurricular is more of a high school type thing. Do you want to just talk about some of the extracurricular offerings that we have off the top of your head?
We have Whiz Quiz, we have a Spanish club, we have student government has become pretty big, FFA. We're working on getting a musical going again. The seniors did a senior play.
Yearbook?
Yeah, we have yearbook that couple people are in charge of. Kathy Whitmarsh is one. We have an after-school program that we run for our grades 4 through 8. I would say the majority of our kids that are involved in extracurricular, it's more the athletic realm than the other, but our FFA is probably about 25 to 30 students. That's a very active group. There's a Liberty Partnership program that some of our kids participate in with field trips and things. In the elementary, there's a good, strong art program that is making its way up to the high school level. I would say would be the best way to do that. So we have Honor Society at the high school level that is working on being rewritten as far as the bylaws and making it more active. So I think that's about all we have.
Just to comment on the 4 to 8 after school, 3 days a week, we have, we get a above 75 students. So we had to limit it and put some of the younger students to a 2-day thing to be able to accommodate about 83 on attendance. Because we have 83 every time, but we have a very large number of students who want to do the extra after day program.
Mrs. Sheen?
We also have an after-school program for academics. We have extended day for grades 7 through 12 and homework club for grades 4 through 6. We have a computer, they can stay for a computer club, and that's grades 4 through 6. We have student council at both middle school and high school levels, National Honor Society, junior and National Honor Society, a language club. We, of course, the classes all have, the grades set 9 through 12 classes all have activities and they have meetings. I'm trying to think.
We have a musical.
We have a musical, we have drama club for grades 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, and then we have a senior play every year. We have yearbook, and we have interscholastic music, which is the NISMA participation in the all-county. TATF, thank you. And we have a Students Against Destructive Decisions program. Yeah. Sorry, I don't have them all in front of me, I wasn't prepared.
What is the TATF?
It's,
We should talk about.
it's Teenage Task Force, actually. Yes.
And what is the Liberty Partnership Program?
That's who we'll have to talk to that more. I know that Claudia McDonald is the person who comes in, and she's here Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it's a place for what I think kids that haven't found a niche someplace else, draws in some kids that way. They do try to connect to the colleges, and she tries to promote the belief that for these kids that they can move on to the college level. They'll do things at St. Lawrence book readings, or they'll go to dinner, and they'll go to a hockey game. Sometimes they might go to a drama production. They meet with kids from other schools. I should go back to and talk about our music program, because we do have the NISMA, we do have the All County. We also have a marching band that we do merge with. We allow mergers from other schools to come in also. That's a summer activity. We had offered in the past driver's education. That one we're kind of in the flux of how is it going to move forward from this point due to budget constraints.
Our driver ed wasn't extracurricular, though. Our driver ed was part of our curriculum.
But we're also in flux. We just recently lost our teacher, so we're trying to figure out where we're going to go with that. That we might be able to help you with. We have a couple driver ed teachers. Yeah. And we've started, after school, sure. After school or summers, and they were talking about how they do it over breaks. We do it over breaks. Yeah. And we do some, like the 40 hours on the road traveling. We do some of the classroom before the break, so the classwork's done, but we've done it over break, we've done it over summer, and it's worked well. Those kids have to realize they're not going away April break, and the parents have to commit to that. And for the driving, our driver, that person was wonderful. She would come in extra hours, weekends, to get the kids who missed a day or two here or there and catch them up. So that was very successful. Unfortunately, through the budget this year, we don't have that exempt, but it's something we do want to put back in. It's just too bad.
I think ours used to be over the summer.
I mean, ours years ago used to be in the day program. Then it went to summer, and then we kind of went to this creative weekends and vacations.
So is there a possibility that these lists sound very similar, we just talked about, is there a possibility that those programs could be merged, pick the Spanish club or driver's ed? Are you having enough shortage of people in those programs too, that if we merged it, it would be beneficial to both groups?
It's just speaking for our district, we don't have really a lack of participation in any of these clubs. We, I would say, have strong participation in all of our, and we have our foreign language advisor is right here, We have strong participation in all of our extracurricular right now, so it's not really a lack of student.
I was lacking numbers of students.
No,
No.
at 25 in language. We're strong with participation in the extracurricular.
We also offer the 5-hour driving course a couple times throughout the year, here at night.
For just your students, or would that be open to?
At this point, we've never needed to put it out. We have allowed community adults to come in. And that is a paid fee by the participants. It's like $35. But if, I mean, again, we would run it, we'd like to run it full. It makes it better. But at this point, we've never needed to.
If you ever do that in the near future, you could just let me know and we can put it on our website.
I'd love to revisit the drive right over a break possibility, because it's very difficult for some of our students who already have their license to do this over the summer because they have summer employment.
Right.
And, you know,
Which is
they're
why we went to that.
willing to give up their job over the summers to take a drive right course, what they needed.
Right.
So I'd like to dive into that a little further if possible.
Anything else there, or should we move forward?
The next area is administration. You want to just give a breakdown first?
Sure. Myself and Mrs. Sheen is our administration. We do essentially anything under the administrative heading of the school. I'm also the district treasurer at our district. We do have a person that comes in 2.5 days from the central business office. And we have an accounts payable person that's part-time as well that comes in from the business office that we share with Harrisville. As far as the day-to-day things, curriculum, instruction, supervision, evaluation, all of those things fall under Mrs. Sheen and I. We do have the department heads of the other department heads, but as far as instructional administration, it's us.
What about CSE?
Oh,
Yeah.
CSE. We have a retired administrator from our district is a part-time, 2 days a week CSE person.
Okay. We have a pre-K 6 principal full-time, a 7-12 principal / dean of students full-time, myself full-time, and a part-time CSE person. And the same thing, we don't have a curriculum person. All the evaluations and supervision are done by the 3 of us. As far as the day-to-day, you know, we share roles and jobs frequently, and when someone's out, we probably have it a little easier than you by having 3, because as we know, you have to have an administrator in the building, so that makes it difficult if mandatory BOCES training sometimes. We send, 3 people, and luckily for us, we have an administrator that's that day acts as the building administrator, but that does make it difficult. And I know, like this year, we were set initially for approximately 9 trainings mandated through BOCES, but they were very nice in giving 2 dates for each, so that you could split up your administrators. But those are things to consider.
I think Sue just understated the challenge facing all the administrators around the county who are trying to meet the federal race to the top requirements. Probably reading that New York State is required to have a new teacher principal evaluation system. You probably also just read that I think 12 school improvement schools that were cited for being in drastic need of improvement did not reach agreement. The commissioner has suspended their monies. Secretary of Education Duncan has put New York on a naughty list of 3 other states who have not, really accomplished as much as was intended. So, there's essentially $700 million in Race to the Top funds that are in jeopardy right now. We feel like we're ahead of the curve in this BOCES. All the teacher groups and administrator groups met, committed a lot of their own time over the summer, spent countless hours. We are the only BOCES that I'm aware of that developed a regional template that all of the districts could then take back to your local collective bargaining tables to reach an agreement with your teachers. But it has required an incredible amount of training. All administrators, it's required by the statute, they have to be trained. And now all tenured teachers will have to be observed multiple times in a given year. So it's added quite literally hours and hours and hours to all of your academic administrators' time because it's written into law. They have to do this, they don't have any choice. And we do think it's going to improve instruction around the county for sure, but it comes at a price of really stretching the capacity of